Hi, I'm Tracy, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about EMDR. EMDR is a type of therapy that I just love to be able to provide for my clients because it's really awesome and it really works well for a lot of people. But it does give people pause quite a bit at the beginning. So I thought that I would just hop on here and give you a little insight into what EMDR is so that it can maybe take some of the mystery out of it. So, what is EMDR? EMDR stands for eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. I know, long words. Basically, you don't need to really worry about all the psychobabble. But basically, it's the idea that when our brain is naturally learning things, it's firing up all over the place. It's got neurons zinging back and forth all over the place between the right brain, left brain, and it's really integrating things in that way. And so what we found is that when we basically get your brain's attention, right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain, it starts that process even on memories that we haven't been able to do this on our own. So most of the time your brain does this on its own. It doesn't need you to do the looking, in the right brain, left brain. Most of the time it does that. So most of our experiences, we move through the here and now, and we experience it, we feel all the feelings with it, we have thoughts, but then we start to believe something different. So like for instance, if I fell down and I scraped up my knee, I might think, oh, I'm so stupid. And I might feel all the pain and my head's rushing and I'm maybe, like freaking out because of blood and all of that stuff, right? And then I'm going to settle down, I'm going to take some deep breaths, and I'm going to maybe clean it up and realize it's not that bad. And I'm going to maybe say something to myself, because I'm, a therapist and it's not nice to talk bad about people. I'm going to say, oh, I shouldn't call myself names. And maybe if I just don't carry all of this stuff in my hands and focus a little bit more on walking, then I won't fall down as often. And so then you learn about it so that when you can, by the time you get into your office or wherever you're going where you fell down, you can maybe laugh about this memory or talk about it in a way without it meaning something bad about you or you re-experiencing it with all that same, that started at the beginning. But sometimes in life, we go through experiences and we're not able to do that natural processing. Right? Like sometimes the experiences are so awful that they completely overwhelm us. We don't have the internal resources or the external support to be able to do that whole work and get all the way through that memory. Sometimes our brain is just not ready for it, right? Like things happen when we're kids and our brain is just not developed, and so we're not really able to. And if for whatever reason we don't go back to that until much later in life because something reminds us of it, then we might not do that. It might get overwhelmed and be stuck a little bit. Another example for that is if we're just not slowing down. So if life is, we're going through things really, really, really fast, then we might not just have the time for our brains to do this natural processing. And so again, we feel overwhelmed, it gets stuck. And then when things remind us of it, instead of us having this new memory about it or new memory recall, where we feel calm, we believe something positive about ourselves, and it feels like it's in the past. Instead, it feels like it's coming on. We're reliving it. And we may be doing that consciously, where we understand that that's the memory that's bothering us, or more often than not, we're not making connections between that. We just feel awful, or we find ourselves doing, bullheaded things, right? Or find ourselves sabotaging, and we just can't seem to do something different, even though we really want to, and we understand all the reasons for it, and we're just stuck. So EMDR is again that right brain, left brain, just getting your brain's attention, right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain. So how do we do that? Well, in therapy, what we would do is three different kinds of things, right? So we can either do that right brain, left brain through eye movement, where you would just follow with your eyes, and I'll show you in front of me. Follow with your eyes, my fingers going back and forth. Of course, I'd be to the side and you'd just be following my fingers instead of like looking at my face while we're doing it. But that would be eye movement. And it's pretty simple for people to do. If you don't like the eye movement, we can switch to something else. But a lot of people get a lot of success with it and get used to it, and it feels less weird very quickly. Some therapists will do a light board for eye movement. I personally choose not to because the lights kind of give me a headache, and it's bulky in the room, and I just like the kind of being right there and being present with you, and so that's why I choose to do eye movement with my fingers. Another way of doing it, though, if that's not your thing or there's some reason why you don't want to do eye movement, maybe makes you have a headache anyway, we can use these little, where are they? Buzzers. They're not shocks. And by the way, the eye movement will not hypnotize you. It's a very different process for your brain. A lot of people have that question. It's not hypnosis. And this won't hypnotize you either, and it also doesn't shock you. It just literally vibrates, right? Back and forth. And we can vary the timing and how fast it is. We can vary how strong it feels in your hands. You can hold it in your hands, or you can like put it in your pockets, or even just put it on your legs, or wherever feels comfortable for you. And so the other way that we can do that same kind of stimulation with touch, if you don't like the buzzing, or again, for some reason that doesn't work for you, is either have your hands on a pillow and I tap your hands back and forth, or we tap back and forth maybe on your knees or even on your ankles. And that can be, some people really like that because you're actually connected in the room to the therapist, and they can find it very grounding if the memory is really overwhelming and feels scary, and that's something that helps keep you in the room, so that part of your mind at least knows that you are safe and you're secure and it's all over, and all of that good grounding stuff. And the last way that we do it is through tones. So even your ears can stimulate this. So I have these nifty-difty headphones that you just put on, and it makes a tone go back and forth, back and forth. And again, just like with the buzzers, we can alternate customize for you how strong it is, how loud it is for you, and how quickly, depending on what we're doing. So that's really all there is to it. Of course, there's phases that you have to get through before you're ready to do that with a difficult memory, and you definitely need to do that with a therapist to make sure that it feels safe, because it is a really fast and powerful tool. So if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Feel free to give me a call, or you can click on the link and set up an appointment. But yeah, that's EMDR. Hopefully it takes the mystery out. Thanks.